Hello everyone and welcome. If you're new here, hi, how are you? Today, I wanted to talk about a question that burns deep inside my soul as a massive fan of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. The question that persists and lingers in people like me is, why is it so difficult to make a good Texas Chainsaw sequel? Before we get into that, I do want to say I am not 100% referencing or talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 because a lot of people like that movie. I'm kind of referencing mostly the other sequels, but I also am including that one because I personally don't love it that much. But that's just a little clarifying, a little warning ahead of time. Well, with that, let's take a good look at why it's so hard to make a good Texas Chainsaw sequel. When discussing something like this, the single most important thing to understand is what exactly made the first Texas Chainsaw movie so good. Well, I think honestly that the success of the first movie burns down to a few things. First, I think the majority of the success of the first film can be placed squarely on the low budget feel of it. Here's what I mean. The film is incredibly low budget feeling, both in the rawness of the way the film is actually shot. It is not super flashy in camera movements or jump scares. The camera is mostly just placed in view of whatever horror is going on. There's no glorification or even deglorification of whatever is going on. The camera has no opinion of these events. It simply does not care. The low quality of the actual film and the look of the film also has something to do with it. The film is not incredibly clear, and by film I mean like the actual film itself. There's a grime and grit to the film that is absolutely undeniable. The next thing that you also cannot deny is the inherent nastiness of the characters in the film. There is nothing redeemable even remotely about any of the bad guys in this film. Also, the movie was actually shot in Texas, and this definitely feels like Texas. So these are the qualities of this film that actually works. And now let's talk about why most of the sequels haven't worked and what I think they can do to make them work. I think one of the most important things, the biggest thing, is the movie is both inherently and unintentionally about meat consumption. What it means, where the meat comes from, and the ethical ways to eat meat. I think attaching any other meaning or even attempting to in this franchise, while that is limiting, I think really messes up the film because of just how baked in the meat consumption angle is to all of these films. The next thing, in almost any sequel to this film I've ever watched, there's always crazy angles, camera movements, and a lot of jump scares. There's a lot going on. There isn't as much of that in the original film, which in a lot of ways is why I think that movie works so well. The next point I want to make is the characters of the film you're watching. I think most new sequels to this film try too hard to get you to like the characters you're supposed to side with, so therefore you'll feel scared after the family starts coming after them. The issue with this is, by doing this, you're prescribing a point of view to the viewers that isn't there in the first film, and is partially why that film works in the first place. I think it's super important to keep the impartiality of the film because it's important that you are just a opinionless bystander with no opinion one way or the other about the actions that are going on. But here's why I don't think you can make a good Texas Chainsaw sequel. I don't think you can make a good sequel to this film for two reasons. Number one, the way this film was made could never be made again and could never be made again on a larger budget. And second, lightning never strikes twice. Thank you all for watching. You can find all of our socials. It is at Mediabyte Company on Instagram. It's where you can get all the updates for all the videos that are coming out. Please check that out there. We also have Blue Sky. It's mediabyte.bsky.social. Check that out there as well. And on TikTok, which you get some shorts and stuff like that, it is at Mediabyte Co. Please follow that. I would really appreciate that. We are at almost 90 followers on there. If we can hit 100, I would really deeply appreciate that. Please listen to all of the podcasts on the Mediabyte Podcast Network. I really appreciate that. There's Diary of an Indie Filmmaker. It's all my directing stuff. There's Exploring Cinema, which I do with my fiance Alex. If you've never listened to those, please check those out. You can find those right here, or you can find that on your favorite podcast apps, as in all of these podcasts. You can also find Sashit on there as well, which is all things horror movies, so something more like this, which is just something you can find there mostly. And yes, so with that, I really deeply appreciate all of you who listen and watch and all that stuff. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that stuff. Every time I get a new comment, it makes me happy. So I really deeply appreciate all your comments, all your likes, everything like that. And yeah, so thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.